Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite Sunday morning live experience and all of that good junk. Sorry, I was adjusting the audience setting on Facebook. This is An Evening at the Movies. As you all know, the podcast where we like to eat the stale popcorn, drink the watered down sodas, talk about all of our favorite movies and why we love them. And I don't want your opinion on this subject matter, so you can just sit there and chill.
Good luck with that.
That I have a feeling it's not going to happen. So more than likely, here in a couple seconds, somebody will be making his literally a couple seconds. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, Poppy.
So, where was I? Watered down sodas, stale popcorn, watered down sodas, favorite movies and why we love them. Um, Welcome back, co-host.
Thanks. Sup?
Not a lot. It's 2025, and
Yeah?
we're almost a week into the new year, and nothing bad has happened yet.
Maybe not to us, but some bad shit has happened.
Well, no, I'm all about directly referring to just me and you.
I had to write 25 for the first time the other day, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, my least favorite part of January is having to literally force myself to think through the process because for so long it's just been, a natural blah 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 2024.
Yeah.
And then you have to get yourself out of that habit and don't chew on the power cord. That'll be a very hair raising experience for you. Um, but yeah, no, it feels weird for like 3 or 4 days, but then you get into the flow of it and it becomes second nature and it'll be fine until this time next year when you actually have
You
to start
start over.
physically doing 2026 again. So, uh,
Well, in 2026, I will be coming to you from a different house and a different background. So that'll be fun.
very true. And hopefully with zero injuries
Yeah.
on the body to speak of, and um, a mind that is alive and not having to deal with the after effects of laser surgeries.
Well, I may be getting more laser surgery on at least one of my eyes, but that remains to be seen. So,
That's why I was saying the lingering effects from the laser surgery because it's been what, a month now, and
yep.
you're still having issues with the one eye.
Yep.
So
Yeah, good times.
yay! But um, I don't think we're here to complain about life's little ailments and all of that. I think um, if you want, we should talk about a movie.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. Why not?
I mean, it's what we do basically every Sunday.
That is fair.
So, all right. So, it was brought to my attention. Well, not necessarily brought to my attention, but one of our new listeners in the group, new unpopped kernels, has a favorite movie that she thought um, she would like to hear an episode dedicated to. So she suggested it, and as you all know the rule, if you guys request a movie, we will put it on the schedule. I'm not saying how fast it'll go on the schedule, but it'll go on the schedule.
Yeah.
And
What
this
movie?
one, well, this one kind of got a little bit faster than normal. Well, a lot faster than rubber. But um, we're going to talk about the Notebook.
Oh, well, I was asking what movie she requested.
The Notebook.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying just now it was brought to your attention that somebody requested.
No, 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 no,
Never mind.
no, no, that's not what I meant.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. It's early, and would you quit chewing on the freaking power cord?
Why would he do that?
Because he wants to be difficult.
Exactly.
So, um, officially, before we get started, everybody say hi to Griffey. Griffey's making his debut on an evening at the movies. So,
Griffey.
yay, hi. Now, go over there. So, we're going to talk about the Notebook and
Yes.
have an interesting discussion.
Yes.
Um, it's one of those movies for me that
Coming right back.
it felt very well. I, honest to God, thought I had seen it before, but evidently I had not.
Really?
I don't. I
Okay.
don't. I really don't know why I thought that I had seen it, but maybe it's because it's one of those things that kind of sort of falls under all of that, like Nicholas Sparks umbrella that it just kind of sort of all bled together, and it's like,
Yeah, I could see
okay,
that.
maybe I have seen it, maybe I haven't. Oh well. But
Well, I'm trying to
for
find my
those of
copy of
you,
the book and I can't. I was going to show it to everybody. I've got I've seen like 6 Nicholas Sparks books so far on my shelves and I can't find the Notebook.
eh, go figure.
Yeah. I know I own it. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
Legitimately cannot believe that this movie is as old as it is.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams were BBs. And the other two main
Literally,
stars aren't even with us anymore.
no. Um, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
this
wait.
movie is well before he was just Ken. So, the Notebook released on June 25th, 2004. It was directed by Nick Cassavetes. It was released by New Line Cinema. It had a budget of $29 million and it made 115.6 at the box office.
Nice.
And um, do you know the next piece of information, or would you like to wager a guess as to what you think Rotten Tomatoes said?
I don't know. Here is my copy of the book for anybody. I'm sure there's multiple covers, but this is one. So if you want to know what it looks like, and it's a quick read. 230 pages. So, um,
And it's not like it's that complex of details either.
yeah. So I think it being reviewed later with Rotten Tomatoes being a more current thing, I don't think the critics are going to like this very much. It is a fan favorite, so I think the popcorn meter is going to be at least in the 80s, I want to say. But I way over exaggerated last time. Let's go 82 for the popcorn meter cuz this movie has a big fan following. The critics, let's say 66.
You did a lot better this time than you did on Home Alone 2.
I don't think it was possible to do much worse than I did on Home Alone 2.
No, you and Kendra both were not even in the freaking ballpark on either of the scores on.
Samsonite, I was
Um,
way off.
the tomato meter for the Notebook on 182 rating or 182 reviews was 54%,
Oh, okay. They
and
really didn't like
then yeah, and then the popcorn meter was a whopping 85%.
it. Ooh, I got real close to that one. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, this
uh,
movie is a classic. It's a, I mean, like I said, fan favorite. The people who love this movie really love this movie. I think that we'll talk about some parts of it haven't aged as well, but um
mhm.
overall I still really love it. It makes me cry every single time I watch it, and it definitely set unrealistic expectations for me for relationships. So there you go.
Well, I feel like that's all topics that we're going to get into
Yeah.
while we're discussing this movie. So, with that said, what was this movie about, co-host?
Well, Casey, I will tell you. In 1940
Really?
South Carolina, mill worker Noah Calhoun and rich girl Allie are desperately in love, but her parents don't approve. When her parents take her back to Charleston and Noah goes off to serve in World War II, it seems to mark the end of their love affair. Allie becomes involved with another man, but when Noah returns to their small town years later on the cusp of Allie's marriage, it soon becomes clear that their romance is anything but over.
That pretty much covers it in a nutshell.
Well, that actually leaves out a huge part of what this is about. But I didn't know how to add that to the thing because basically the other thing is that we are seeing an old couple in a retirement nursing care facility that the man is reading to the woman about the story of Noah and Allie's love affair. And so the movie goes back and forth between those two things, and it doesn't take long to figure out how they intertwine. But there you go. This movie's 20 years old. If you haven't
It
seen
does.
it, sorry about the spoilers.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's one of those where it's been 21 years in June.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Sorry, not sorry, but it doesn't take long to figure out who the link is between Rachel McAdams and Jenna Rollins.
Yeah.
It might take a little bit longer to figure out the link between James Garner and
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling,
Yeah, they tried to throw you off the scent a
but
little bit, but if you were paying any attention
well,
to the love in this movie, you know. To me, the big reveal
yeah,
isn't that, it's more about him reading her this story and her realizing that it's them. That's the big revelation to me is that, we're dealing with Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever, and she doesn't know who he is. And everybody's real careful to, tiptoe around that. Like her own kids are even pretending like they're strangers. And, the nursing staff is very like not calling him by his real name and like all this stuff. So they're very careful not to spook her and just let her come to the realization on her own as she hears their love story, which I think is really beautiful.
yeah, because I think for me, the actual legitimate link. I mean, I kind of suspected it watching the movie when I watched it for the first time, but it really, I think, finally started to make 100% sense when they're out in the courtyard and the nurse comes and tells her or tells them that her family's here to see her, or the family's here to see blah blah blah, and then it's like, oh no, not you, him,
Yeah. She's like,
and
your
it's like,
children are here. Oh, not
would
yours, his.
yeah, would you like to meet,
Yeah.
or can I meet them? And he's all like, yeah, not a problem. And they go around and daughter, grandkids, and then like the son gets introduced, and you see that look on his face and his
Yeah.
reaction and all of that. It's like, okay, that's not just any reaction from some weird
Right.
unknown stranger. That's
That's my mom, and I love her. And yeah.
yeah. And then they're sitting there having the discussion about what to do, and it's all like, okay, you can't keep doing this, you know,
Right.
and they're trying to encourage him to go live his remaining life and not have to deal with the burden of being there every day for Allie. But he's all like, no, this is my life. This is what I'm going to do. This is who I care about. This is who I love. Blah 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 blah. Blah. And yeah, it's
And I thought Jenna Rollins does a good job there of portraying she doesn't know who these people are, but you can also kind of tell that she feels some kind of connection. Like you can
mhm.
tell that she feels like she's met them or she knows them somehow, but not like the way that she should know them. I thought that was really good. And that's definitely the first time I think that they do flat out tell us that that's Allie, because when the nurse comes to get her, she calls her Miss Hamilton. Um, or that
Yes.
I think that's at yeah, I think that's at that part. So if you're paying attention to what her name was earlier in the movie, then you would know that. But yeah, I don't. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's Allie pretty early on. They try to trick you with the is that Noah or is that Lon? But again, if you're paying any attention to the way these guys love her, you should know who that is, and it's not Lon. Not that Lon
No.
wasn't to
No,
her, but
and
yeah, they didn't have that.
no, not by any stretch. I mean, even like last night when I was finishing my rewatch of the movie or watch of the movie, and I made reference to the fact, oh, it damn freaking, you know, what's his face?
James
Why
Marsden.
am I drawing a fucking blank?
James
Yeah,
Marsden. Marsden.
yeah, J- damn Marsden, and you're like, yeah, but at the same time, it's not like he's that big of an asshole or dick
No,
or
he was a really
whatever.
good guy.
He's
I mean, he
and
finds out
he's
she cheated on him, and he's ready to
legit.
take her back. Like,
No, I mean even up to the his final moment in the story where they're sitting there. I believe it was at the hotel
her
or the
hotel.
inn or whatever you want to call it, and he's all like, "No, make a damn choice." But at the same time, if you choose me, I will take you back. I will love you. I will give
Yeah,
you X, Y, and Z and element. He's still pushing hardcore for himself
yeah.
that I can give you everything that you want and everything that you dream of and all of this. Just give me a damn chance, lady.
But I want you for
And
myself, which is valid. I mean,
yeah, no,
he wasn't
no,
going down to that fight.
no, and I wouldn't necessarily blame him for, you know, not going down without a fight either. He was in self-preservation mode. He was trying to protect his heart, and he
Yeah, I
was
mean,
doing everything he could to
I
try and
think
come out on top at the end.
um I think if Lon had been a less likable character, it wouldn't have made her choice so difficult, at least for the audience. So I think it had to be
Yeah.
like he had to be more, of a nice guy, like somebody that you want to root for. Um and
It definitely added another dimension to the whole. I mean, like, because you look at other romantic dramas that, you know, you have, okay, maybe bad example, but you have like Kate Winslet in Titanic. She has
right.
Leonardo DiCaprio, who is obviously the optimum choice, or she could go with Jackass and live happily ever after, and he's a dick.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
we
not
all know good and hell well he's a dick, and we're not going to root for her to leave with him.
right. And so this it has to be they both have to be good guys, and it's like she says, when I'm with him, I feel like I'm one person. When I'm with you, I feel like I'm a different person. So it's a really tough inner turmoil for her as to which person does she want to be, and neither
Hmm.
choice is a bad choice, but it's just
No,
about
and
following
she
your heart.
would would have been a good person no matter who she would have picked, and she probably could have lived happily ever after with any either of the two choices.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, she had to make a choice, and she chose
the
that
love of her
portion of her
life.
heart. And you know, we don't necessarily know how life would have unfolded. You know, going forward for her, it have would they have survived 60 years of marriage and still been together in the nursing home when she got dementia if she had chosen Lon instead of
Right.
Noah?
I don't
You
think
know,
Lon would be there reading to her every day.
no, that I think he loved her and he loved her greatly, but I don't think he loved her at the same level that Noah did.
No, definitely not.
And not necessarily saying that the level that Lon loved her at was a bad thing. He loved her significantly, but it's different. Like we said, you know.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I guess you haven't read the book, right?
No, I have a feeling a recommendation will come, and I'll probably end up having to sit down and read the book. Though,
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
wouldn't mind reading the book because I feel like books definitely deliver on a level that movies don't, and I feel like they did a good job at creating a visual depiction of the story. So I'm curious to see what kind of a vision Nicholas Sparks created, not just like Nick Cassavetes and the actors and actresses and all of that, if that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of differences. The main stuff between the book and the movie is, the main core of the story and the heart of it is all still there, but they did some stuff differently, and I think it's because they wanted to appeal to a younger audience and cast younger actors and really like go back and forth with this story, because in the like the book open or the movie opens, they're in the nursing home or whatever, but then their story starts with them being teenagers and talking about how they meet and their love
Hmm.
affair, and it's really dramatic and all of this stuff. And in the book, it's not really like that. Like their relationship is not that dramatic. Like there's not that many fights. And then it also starts. So first of all, Noah's the one that writes the notebook, not Allie in the book version, which isn't that big of a deal. But it starts off with he's in his 30s. So in the book, there's a lot more time between them than there is in the movie. Like between
Hmm.
when they meet and when whatever. Um, and we only get flashbacks to their summer romance. So it's not like a whole section of the book is dedicated to that time of their life. It's just flashbacks when they're, he's reminiscing or, whatever. They don't have a big dramatic fight, and her parents make her leave early. They leave when they're supposed to leave, but her and Noah end on bad terms, but they don't actually break up. Trying to remember. I feel like that's most of the differences. And I know for the actors to play themselves as adults, they couldn't have like a 10-15 year difference between when they were together and when they're adults. So I get why they did that.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I would say it's pretty faithful. There's little changes like I think Noah's old boss gives him the money to rebuild the house. It's not from the GI Bill, but um stuff like that. Like it's not.
I think wasn't
I
it the GI Bill and his
Yeah,
dad selling their house?
right. So yeah, I mean, but other than that, it's pretty, it's pretty faithful. There's always going to be a lot of differences, but um the book
Like we
does.
said numerous times, books flow a lot differently than movies flow, and sometimes you have to make little changes here and there to get that flow just right for
Yeah.
the big screen.
I will say the book does talk about um her being diagnosed with Alzheimer's and kind of that journey, as opposed to us just being thrown into the situation in the movie where they are. In the book, there's pieces of that in the story that he's writing, which would have been nice to see, but I guess, for time reasons they couldn't do that, but it would have been, you know,
Well,
it helps
because
solidify that commitment by
yeah,
showing how by telling us how that happens and like their journey through that process. you I mean, we're supposed to believe how much they love each other just from what they see in their early years, and that's cool. I mean, we do. It's believable, but in the book it's even more believable because you're seeing these struggles that they go through before she's basically a stranger to him, or he's a stranger to her or whatever.
living out the real life aspects of 51st dates.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to have to be in. It would suck to be that person with the memory issues, but it would also suck to have to be that person like Noah or Adam Sandler who literally
Yeah.
has to go through that loop every day of going back to square one and starting over again. And but at the end of the day, that shows that level of commitment to that person and how much they love that person. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So,
is it the unrealistic aspects of love and relationships? Not for me to say, but at the end of the day, I feel like that's we all want to be loved at that level because
yes.
that is a significant, high, ultimate level of love.
And it's like, is that realistic? Is anybody going to do that? Like, like this movie really, especially after, being in a bad relationship, that was the year my daughter was born. And, after that, I was like, so this is terrible. And as I've grown older, I realized, you have to lower your expectations a little bit. But The Notebook and Titanic, like, really set the tone for me when it came to future relationships because for Titanic, it was, I want to be with somebody smart like Jack. Whoever I'm with, I want to know that that person could get us off that boat alive. So, yeah, the romantic stuff too, but mainly I'm like, Is the guy I'm dating someone who would be smart enough to, and would I be smart enough? But I want to be with somebody who's that determined to get through this, to stay alive, to make sure we're both, being smart and whatever. And then the
Yeah.
notebook, of course, it's if I get Alzheimer's, which runs in my family, my grandmother died from it. And it's like, I want someone who's going to be there for me every day and try to make me remember. But is that really fair to the other person to expect that? Like that is fucking love. Like that is
No.
commitment.
Well, because that's my whole thought is literally like again because I dementia runs in my family as well, so
Right.
that's one of those thoughts that you know you always are worried about. Am I going to have my thoughts and memories for the rest of my life, or is something going to happen? And I know it's not how it probably happens, but am I going to wake up one day and everything's going to be freaking gone,
Right.
and I'm going to be left in the dark, wondering what the fuck?
Right. But I
But
mean, it's
you
right
know,
there in the
t-
vows, in sickness and in health,
till
for
death
better
do
or
us.
for worse, till death do us part. So yeah, it's like he's really
Yeah,
honoring that shit.
no, and that's the part that I kind of sort of that really got to me though because you have those parts, especially in the beginning when you have the 2 a.m. Finn comes and finds them at the house, and yeah, Allie's parents have called the cops, and the cops are out looking for you guys. Blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and they end up back at her house, and you get the initial breakup, and it feels like they go from deeply in love to just it's over, let's end this, you know, just like that. And it's like, why are you people giving up so quickly if you guys love each other so much?
Because they're
Fight for your
teenagers. They don't know anything.
if you're not fighting for your love, then what kind of love do you have? Bad Keanu Reeves riff. But well, because part of it too is you get that tends to be a significant romance story trope is you get the well-off parents that are against the teenage or young adult love, and
Right.
they try and play the whole it's not going to work, and if you're going to keep going down this road, then you're going to do it without our freaking money and without our support and blah 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 and all of this. And it's like, well, I still love him and I'm going to do this, and they run off and live happily ever after.
Yeah.
And to me, that aspect of relationships is the unrealistic part of it because
Yeah.
it's like I'm almost 48 years old and I've had relationships in the past, and in a damn one of them that have been, met with resistance, but then, you go off and ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. That to me, that just, no, that's not how that shit happens.
Yeah. And I mean, I will
So
say that like I have had, you know, a high school into college relationship that was not with the fighting part, but was very like, you know, love right at the beginning and very passionate and very like, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. And it was amazing, but it's also like you live in that bubble and you kind of forget about reality. And when reality starts setting in, it's kind of like, you know, the Beatles are fucking liars. Love is not all you need, unfortunately.
no, I
So I
thought you
don't
were
know.
going to
I
say the
think,
Beatles were wrong. You can buy me love.
no, I mean, I don't, yeah, no. Money can buy things that give me joy, but it doesn't buy happiness.
No, it might buy gratification,
Right.
but to me,
Yeah.
gratification is at this level, happiness is at this level.
I mean,
And
yeah, it
for those of you
definitely.
listening on
Mm,
Spotify or whatever, there's a significant gap in between my two hand levels.
yeah. So my kind of thing is like I would what Noah does for Allie, it's hard because I would want that for myself, but I don't think I would want that for my spouse. And so it's like, how do you reconcile that? Like, if I'm just thinking about myself, yes, I want you there day in and day out, being committed to me, helping me remember you for as long as I possibly can. But then what kind of life is that for him? You know, it's just, yeah, it's that is
No, and
hard.
I was going to get to that point too while I was going around the barn and out in the back 40 and all of that. But that's the point, though, is like, I don't know if I could, if that was to ever happen and I lost my mind and my memories and all of that, I don't know if I could ask for or expect a significant other to wait around and be there every day and continuously on a loop tell me the same story over and over and over again on the off chance that maybe we might have a, according to Hoyle, miracle, and I might get 5 minutes of memory back before something happens
Right.
and I lose it all again.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that's what happens all the damn time to them is he reads the story to her every day, and he tells her at one point at the end, you know, how long does this come back for? And he's like, I think the longest that we've ever had is 5 minutes.
Okay. So you said last
So
time we had less than 5 minutes.
less than five, something like that. And again, it's not when it happens at the end of the story. It's not a significant period of time. They have their, you know, aha, oh my god moment where she realizes
Ugh.
everything comes back, and they have their little candlelight dinner thing, and all of a sudden the freaking light switch flips off and we're back to square one again, and she's having a meltdown and
Yep.
his heart shattering in a million freaking pieces because he's literally sitting there watching her slipping from all of that back into that level of darkness that you can see on Noah's face at the end of the movie just how much it's killing him to see her
Yeah.
go through this. But yet he's still, even like when he has his heart attack at the end, and legitimately I did not think, I figured he was going to she was going to lose him before he lost her, and
Yeah.
ultimately that was going to be her downfall.
Because yeah, you saw
But
how it affected her when he wasn't there. That's what's crazy is how much of a difference it made just in her quality of life, even if she didn't remember.
yeah,
Those interactions helped her so much more than even she knew because you saw the aftermath of that when he wasn't there, like how bad off she
mhm,
was.
yeah, no, and I've been around enough nursing homes to know that when it comes to like dementia wings and Alzheimer's wings of where those type of patients get put away, they have to get put away in wings with alarms and
Yeah.
locked doors and all of that because this is going to sound cold and heartless, but if one of them gets out,
Well, yeah, they don't know what to do.
it they don't know what to do. They don't know where they are. They don't. I mean, they could hurt themselves. They could hurt somebody
Yeah.
else. You know. whatever the case may be. So it sucks, but at the same time, you've got to do what you got to do to protect everybody in that situation. And
But unfortunately, that's where a lot of abuse happens too, because people can get away with it because they don't remember it, or even if they say it happened, people will just say, "Oh, that was an old memory or something or whatever." Like
mhm.
that. After seeing my grandmother, not that, but just like I just said to George, I was like, if I ever get Alzheimer's, if you want to, shoot me up with some morphine or smother me with a pillow or whatever, just don't put me in a nursing home. Like that's all I'm going to ask. Or if you do, you need to
No,
be there every single day.
I will say this, because my grandfather on my mom's side had dementia all the way up until his death, and luckily it was never to the extent that we had to put him in a home ish. At the end, he may have had a couple of weeks where because he lived in a assisted living,
Yeah.
or in Harvey's terms, active adult
Active adult
community
communities, yes.
environment, and I remember having to go up and help move him out of that apartment when he just couldn't do it on his own again.
Yeah.
And that was shortly before he ended up passing. But yeah, it I no, I don't want to ever be in that situation where I have to go into a home and have to deal with stuff like that. And I would much rather my significant other just put me out to pasture at that point.
Yeah. But anyway,
I know that sounds kind of cold and heartless, but
I mean,
so
yeah.
was there was there anything about this movie that you obviously couldn't stand? I mean, we've done a pretty good job about nailing everything that we loved about this movie.
I mean,
Was there anything?
not really. The only thing I will say, which I assume you probably have the same thoughts, is that, you know, with society, the way we have evolved and, the way we kind of have deconstructed you know, the way women can accept and perceive someone liking them as opposed to it being crazy. Noah was kind of crazy, like at first. Like the lengths that he went to get her to go out with him were a
Motherfucker
little,
was hanging off of a
yeah,
damn
like,
Ferris wheel by one hand.
yeah, like,
Well, two
but
hands and then one hand to get the final yes. But
so when I first saw the movie, obviously, like millions of other people, thought it was romantic. And honestly, I still do think that, but I also understand how it isn't and how it could be perceived as like harassment and like, dude, just take no for an answer. Like,
mhm.
I I don't take it that seriously because it's a fictional story and it's just, I mean, I believe in love at first sight because I've experienced it. So, obviously it didn't last forever, but and maybe it's not really love, if people want to pick that apart, whatever, but I'm going to call it that. And I'm going to say I have experienced that kind of spark where immediately I was like, oh my God, I have to be
Well,
with this person. What?
it wasn't love at first sight with Jeej.
No. He knows that. It's okay. I mean, when I first I wasn't like I thought he was funny and I thought he was nice, but I wasn't interested in dating him. And also I knew that he had a crush on one of our other friends, so I was like, yeah, but no, I mean, it took a couple of times of hanging out with him before I was, like, hey, maybe this is someone I could, spend more time with. So he knows that. It's fine. Um, but yeah, when you're young and you're got all these hormones and you think you're in love, you're going to do crazy things. And so I know that that has been a criticism people have had of the movie now, But I think people are just overreacting a little bit. But I can also see how like that's a little creepy. Um, but I don't know. Other than that, there's not really anything. I mean, I hated the mom. She was a bitch hiding those letters. Like, what the fuck? But, she was doing what she thought was right. And it's
Well, I
kind
was
of
gonna
funny
say,
that the mom was the evil one and not the dad.
well, no, because normally it is the dad, especially
Yeah.
in a story that's set in what 1940s,
Yeah.
because everything is very, and it still is to a certain extent, but it, especially what 80, oh Jesus God, that was a long time ago, but 80 years ago, it was very a male centric
Yeah.
society. The women may have had the right to vote, but they didn't really have the right to step up and say anything. They kind of sort of were expected to get in line and toe the line behind their husband and support what their husband was saying and doing.
Yeah. Well, he was ultimately the head of the family, and you could tell he was a little bit more understanding and kind about the situation. But like he said, he's not suited for you. He was
No.
very soft spoken about it, but it was also like this is just the way it is, and I'm sorry, but so the
Yeah.
mom was more diabolical about it, like hiding the letters. Like I don't know that the dad would have done that. You know what I mean?
Well,
But maybe he would
the
have.
irony of the whole, you, no, we don't know, but I think the ironic part of your whole statement that the mom was a see you next Tuesday. Well, you didn't say that, but you sent that in a text last night while we were both
Yeah.
watching. But literally, like 5 minutes after you sent that message, was where I got to the point where she pulled Allie aside and
Yeah.
explained everything to her about how here's my past and here's the choice that I made for myself.
Right.
Now, you know, here's 365 letters for you. You make the choice for yourself as to what you want, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And whatever you decide to do, I will be here and I will support and love you. So she kind of
That's
sort of
good.
had that moment of redemption at
Yeah.
that point. But up until that point, no, she was completely a 100%. See you next Tuesday.
And calling him trash, like it always bothers me when people you see that behavior because it's one thing like for her dad to say he's not suited for you. Well, he's saying that because they're so different socioeconomically, all
Hmm.
of these things. Like I get that. But to like her calling him trash, like his circumstances are not his fault. The way the amount of money, like that doesn't make him a trash human. I can understand why the dad's saying you're not suited for each other because of those things, which is still dumb, but I get it.
Yeah.
But like, why is even calling him trash? Like he's not. You don't
No.
know, bitch. Shut up. And like outing her about the college thing at the dinner, and even the dad's like, yeah, let the kids have their fun. We don't need to talk about this right now. Like, you know,
He definitely felt it felt like in that marriage the roles were definitely reversed between the two.
I think he realized he was married to a very volatile, a very strong-tempered
Bitch.
woman like Allie. Well, no, but I almost feel like the dad is a lot like Noah in that he like kind of, you know, like I'm not worried about hurting your feelings. They have a 2-second rebound rate, and then you're on to doing the next pain in the ass thing. That was one of my favorite lines from the
or
movie.
or
But like he
is
knows she's just gonna go off, and then
Allie's dad like lawn and the other
yeah,
guy is Noah,
well,
and
right,
then the mom is Allie in the middle. And this is what would have happened had she chosen lawn,
right,
but instead she went the other direction and chose Noah.
right. Because she would have been happy with Lon, but what kind of happy? So yeah, that had to be a tough decision to make. And
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad she picked Noah. Such a beautiful love story.
Well, that's because he's just Ken.
He is Knuff. He has he has big D energy. Um. Okay, so my computer's about to die and my charger is downstairs. So, uh, might need to wrap this up
How much
shortly.
better?
Sorry.
How much? How much battery you have left?
19%.
Oh, we got plenty of time. But um, so overall, as a whole, what would you, if you were to rate this movie out of five, what would you give it?
Oh, for me, this is just a movie that, if I need a good cry, I can always put it on. It's just a beautiful story. I think you know, it was shot beautifully. The story was told very well.
I
I'm,
love the score.
yeah, the score's amazing. The music is just perfect and just so like it's so touching and just yeah, great. Um,
That little plinky plunky like piano
yeah.
music that plays throughout
Oh, and the
just
part
adds
with
that perfect element of story.
yes. And that part with all the swans is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in a movie. Like it was just so gorgeous. Um oh, and when she says say I'm a bird and then she just says now say you're a bird too and he says if you're a bird I'm a bird. Oh god, my heart just melts every time. I, all right, I'm a ratings whore. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
I'm not going to go that far, but I'm not going to deviate that far from your rating either. Um, I think this movie, I'm not a huge romantic
Yeah.
story type fan to begin with. Um, but I found myself enjoying this movie a lot more than I generally would have and what I was expecting.
Nice. Well, that's good.
I'm gonna give it four and a half notebooks out of five,
Nice.
just because it's a good story and it's something I feel. Excuse me. Whether we want to admit it or not, everybody at some point in their life has dreamt for and hoped for finding that level of love and commitment from a partner.
Yeah.
Whether they have it or not, I'm not here
And
to
that's the
judge.
whole
But
basis of the
you know,
movie.
I, at the end of the day, that's what we want for each and every one of ourselves.
Right.
So
We all want to be loved
you
like
know
that.
exactly, and at the end of the day, that is our ultimate happiness. So luckily for Allie, she had that and found that level of love and commitment so that she could have that. I don't necessarily want to say happiness because of the fact that she had to live through the Alzheimer's and all of that, but
But
at the
he was
same
there for
time,
her.
he was still there for her every day. Where,
Yeah.
yeah, she had nurses and all of that that were there for her every day, but those people are paid to be there every day. They don't make the choice to commit and be there every day like Noah did.
Yeah. For
So
real.
it was a good movie. There was moments that
Yeah.
made me laugh. There may have been, some tears shed at some point in the movie.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, when she
If
realizes
you
and she says it was us, I start crying there and I don't stop till the end. So
Yeah, I got choked up at that point, and then
it was
I
us.
think the floodgates opened when the nurse comes walking into her room the next morning, and they're
Yeah.
both laying in bed there together, holding hands, and she puts her hand on
Oh,
their hand. I mean, obviously, that's a good way to take somebody's pulse, is just put your hand on top of their hand. Oh, there's no pulse.
I think she was just
But
feeling to see if they were warm or not. But
okay, well,
also it
yeah,
was just a gentle, like, touch, to me, it was endearing. It was like she was having a feeling about them, just kinda like almost like a comforting touch, even though she pretty much already
hmm
knew they were alive. She could also touch them to tell if they were warm or not, but also it was just like a comforting kind of a, soothing thing.
well, and if you remember correctly from the night before, when he comes out of his room and walks down the hall and has the interaction with the nurse, and the nurse is like, "You need to go back to your room.
Yeah.
I'm going to go downstairs and get a cup of coffee that I need, and I'm going to be down there for a while." Wink, wink.
Yeah. That was funny.
You know, it's all she knows exactly what the hell he's going to do, and that's you know her not getting herself in trouble, but giving him the open door to go and do what he needs to do, because at the end of the day, they need to be there for each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them not being there for however long of a period it was between the heart attack and that moment, it significantly impacted negatively both Allie and Noah. So there's all it really is a good story, and I think it gets a lot of negative criticism that might some of it be just, but at the same time, it's really not as bad as people make it out to be.
It's an
So
amazing movie. It's just some people don't like that kind of drama. Like, George likes rom-coms, but he doesn't like to watch romantic dramas. Like, it's just not in his wheelhouse, but it doesn't make it a bad movie. It's just not for everybody. This movie's fantastic.
well,
So,
I think that's where, and I'm not trying to um, gentrify the movie, but I think that's where most guys come from. Is
oh, it's a chick flick.
guys
Yeah.
just generally don't fall in line with this type of story, and it's
Yeah.
hard for us because we're pigeonholed into being conditioned to not be, you know, so sappy and emotional and all of that. And not saying that women are bad for loving this kind of stuff. It is what it is. But generally, guys don't like this type of stuff, so it's harder for us to
Yeah.
get in line.
That's fine.
But it's definitely a movie that I could see myself watching again down the road. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen this movie and you've sat here for the last hour listening to us ramble on about it, I highly recommend you go and see it. It is choice. So
All right.
this was lots and lots of fun. I hope we did the movie justice. I think we did. Um, Obviously, thank you to the Unpop Colonels for being here each and every week. Um,
Yay.
you guys are awesome. Uh, so far, Home Alone 2 is doing amazingly well in the viewership. So I think you guys are incredible for being here every week for us and helping lift us up in the ways that you do. We've got some ideas coming forward, you know, for going forward in the future coming up that we would like to try and implement and see if you guys enjoy. So stay tuned each week, and you'll probably see a little bit more newer stuff coming down the road.
I
Um,
forgot about the thing.
I know we did. And
Dang
you've
it.
only, you've only got a small percentage of battery left, so I don't want to go back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
redo that again. So
Okay, next
we'll
episode there will be a new segment introduced to the show. We will remember to do it, and I'll have an announcement, and we'll have a new segment. So look forward to that next week.
so um, before I get to the coming soon on an evening at the movies, um, would you like to say your goodbyes and thank yous and whatever it is you would like to say?
Well, yeah, just thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week. I will have some news about the SIP list and some things coming up. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. And is that am I taking us out, or do you have more to say?
Well, I was just going to say really quick before you take us out that there isn't really a whole lot on the schedule coming up for the immediate future. Well, I know what we're doing in February. I
So
know.
go to the page and do the poll. We're doing rom coms, and there's a poll for you guys to help us choose one of the movies. So go
Yep.
cast your vote.
Other than that, there are already three other movies that are on the schedule. Um, we will be talking about Can't Buy Me Love, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Fever Pitch. There's a list of like seven, I think, other options on Twitter and on the Facebook group. So go vote and help us pick the last movie that we'll be discussing in February. Other than that, we may not have every week episodes coming up the next couple weeks, but you'll probably see us back here at least once or twice before February gets here. And then obviously we've got the anniversary coming up, as well as my birthday episode coming up, which I think I haven't really brought it up to Amanda yet, but we'll probably just bleed my birthday episode and the anniversary episode in together.
Nice.
So, um, but for those of you who don't know, I think what we're going to be discussing for my birthday episode is the limited series Daisy Jones and the Six.
Woo!
So
I'm excited.
definitely reading that book, and as soon as I'm done reading it, I will be watching the series on Prime. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm excited to see where it goes and how it ends.
Yeah,
Somebody told me there's a twist at the end, so
there
we'll
is.
go with that. We'll go
It's
with that.
slight, but it's delightful. It's not a bad thing. So
So there's a there is some stuff to look forward to, and we're always here as much as we can be, and we will have lots of fun. It'll be a good fourth year for the show,
yep.
and again, for those out there in witness protection land, we
Hmm.
miss you, we love you, and hurry your ass back and get back to us.
And congratulations on not having to watch this movie. Ugh. The lengths some people will go to get out of watching The Notebook can join the club with George. George was supposed to watch this 12 years ago, and he still has refused to watch it. So he did watch some of it last night against his will.
uh,
Thanks everybody
it,
for
it
watching.
literally is so funny because right before he went into witness protection, Chancey was all like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I have to watch this movie," and then he ended up going into witness protection.
I mean,
So,
there were other ways you could have avoided that. You didn't have to go all,
well, I
secret
mean,
witness on us. But whatever, I don't
I've
want to get
always
on the show,
told
so
I've always told all of my co-hosts that I'm glad to have you each and every week, or you can be here part of the time, 25% of the time. I don't care.
yeah,
You know, that's why I have the amount of co-hosts that I have. That way, I can normally sub one in if somebody doesn't want to.
exactly.
So, but all right. So before the battery dies, take us
Yeah,
home, co-host.
I'm running on fumes. Okay, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we hope you enjoyed the episode as always, and we hope you come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Peace and hair grease.